Oh, look at that. We're live.
Well, we are live. Yes, we are live, actually. Welcome. We're a little early, as always. Welcome to the Mike Ames Show. It's great to see you. And tables are reversed today a little bit. I'm doing the interviewing, and Kirsty is the guest, as it were. Hello, Kirsty, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Mike. Thanks so much for having me.
That's a bit smarmy, but I like it. Oh, what's wrong with your head?
It's just my face.
Okay, I mean the spiky things on top of your head there.
Well, I think you'll find that any day without cat ears is a day I don't want to live. So.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Now, we do seem to have a few technical issues today, unfortunately. My sound is a bit dodgy, so let's just hope that it goes all the way through. Otherwise, Kirsty will do all the talking. Anyway, look, today's show is how to get your video watched. So we're going to talk about that. Now, for starters, I mean, why is video so important, Kirsty? You are, Mrs. Video around Flair. What's the big deal?
I am. I mean, video is so important because it works in every single point of your sales function or every point of your business. Imagine it a bit like a Swiss Army knife. It's got all of these things in one go. So it's got a corkscrew and a knife. So you can use it to find people to add to your sales network. So find prospects. You can then use it in the conversion process. You can use it in the cultivation process. You can use it to help do client care. It can be used all the way through. So video is so important because of that. Adding into that right now, it's the step below in person, which, because of Rona, it's become more important this year because people are having to do it to replace those in-person interactions that they would have relied on before.
So we've got, we use a lot of video. And we've been using video for many years, actually. Now, why is it suddenly a problem then? Why is getting your video watched such a big deal?
Well, it sort of relates to what I just said. In that, because of coronavirus, so many people, like, we've been doing video using it online actively for about 4 or 5 years now. But if you look now versus when we started, the last year, there's been so much more video because people have to use it to fill in the gaps of being in person. Right? I mean, you must have noticed that. When was the last time you went on LinkedIn and scrolled for more than, one little scroll down and didn't see a video?
Oh, yeah, I'd say probably 1 out of every 3 posts now is probably a video. Depends on who you're looking at, I suppose, but there's a lot of video out there for sure. So you're saying then that the problem is the fact that there is so much video that to get noticed, you've got to put more effort. You've got to lift your game. You can't just point the camera anymore and press the red button and then whack it up on LinkedIn, can you?
Yeah, it's exactly right. So before we used to, just be able to, like you say, point and click and get by with it. But now you've just had to up your game a little bit. It's like back in the day, your CV could be fairly relaxed without all sorts of fancy fonts. But now you sort of got to design it and things have got to be, it's the same level. You just have to put more effort in. And to be honest with you, a lot of the effort that you need to put in, you only really need to put in sort of once. And then for a lot of the appearance stuff that you need to do, the cosmetic stuff, I suppose you should say.
Well, we're going to come to that, aren't we, really? I mean, I think it's interesting, just as an observation, really, is that you're right, you just skim through a feed, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever, and something's really got to catch your eye, I think, before you stop and watch it. And I think the days where you could just put subtitles on and that was enough have gone. And certainly the days of just having a video is gone. It's not enough, really. And people are going to they're going to decide whether they want to watch your video, almost like a snap decision. It's split second, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah. And Pete's just put a comment here. If you can see what Pete's just put, essentially, there you go. It's exactly that. What counts as minimum standard has now increased. So you just, it's a bit like when you're doing client care, just being good at your job isn't good enough anymore. You have to go that extra level. Just having a video isn't good enough anymore. You need to have a video that is appealing and ticks various boxes, I suppose, which I will sort of go into in a sec. But yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about box ticking then. So if people are watching this because they want their videos to be watched, what's the point in posting them otherwise? You have
Yeah,
acres and acres and acres of experience of that. In fact, we normally get a lot of views on our videos, whatever they are. I mean, you're very good at that, and 10
Well,
out of
thank
10.
you. Well, thank you.
Although I rather think it's the talent, on screen that does it, but maybe not.
It's all about the director.
Yeah, apparently so. But there are some things that you can do, aren't there? And you're going to share 3 things that people can actually use now to get their videos watched. So what's the first one?
Okay, so before I start these, I do want to make one thing here. Don't overcomplicate things. Okay, video is simple to a certain degree. Don't overcomplicate things. But the first thing that you need to do is think about, for lack of a better word, cosmetics, right? So the way that things look. And by that, I don't necessarily mean that you need to have, like a giant logo of your company and make sure you've got full hair and makeup every day. I mean, I brushed my hair for you guys today. You should be grateful. But what I'm talking about is make sure that your background is decent. So either you could go like the way that I've gone, where I've sort of got a semi-curated background, and there are rules that you can follow to do this, or you can go the Mike route and find yourself in is that a nativity scene, or are you, there's Santa's in the background? Sorry,
no, I'm obviously, let me just, there you go. And also, just so as everyone knows, I
mean, but in comparison, the
Christmas dinosaur with a Christmas tree, isn't it, right there?
It's the Christmas dinosaur. But yeah, so it's making it look right. And again, there are rules that you can follow to this. It's making sure that your lighting is decent. That you haven't got you're not backlit and that you're not in a really dark and dingy place. It's making sure that the camera you're using is decent. And by that, I don't mean expensive equipment. You can do it smartphone or webcam or whatever. You just need to make sure that various things. It's a bit like, if we're going back to the CV analogy, making sure that you don't have a spelling mistake on your first line of your CV. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and you only have to do it once. Once you've organized it, once you've arranged it, you only have to do it once. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I know when you film me, for example, that you have I've never seen you with a physical checklist, but I know you have a checklist of things to go through, don't you, to make sure that the quality of the video, accepting the talent, obviously. Yeah, this is, in fact, a face for radio right here, isn't it? But the quality of the video is right. And it's simple. I've seen you do it. So it's not particularly complicated.
It's not complicated. It's just rules you need to follow, and it's habit more than anything. Once you've established it, it's just habit, which is anybody can do that. It's not difficult for you to do that. So yeah, so that's the first thing, making sure that it looks as good as it can be and that you're the focal point of the video. So at the moment, you'll notice that I am sort of in the middle of my video, and you can see a lot of my head, whereas Mike's a little bit lower. So I would say Mike needs to sit up a bit. There you go, to make him more of the focal point. So that's just a simple thing that you can do, for example. Okay, so the second thing is something that I've brought a lot of emphasis to because I think it's important. If we go back to the what did I call it? The Swiss Army knife. The Swiss Army knife. Right. If we go back to the Swiss Army knife, you have to make sure that you're using the right tool for the right level. And so you need to establish the purpose of your video, because if you're doing a video that's a promo to get people into your sales funnel, that's a very different set of criteria to if you're doing a testimonial video to encourage your backloaded USP. And it's very difficult. It's very different to if you're doing a value add video, or it's very different. Why am I struggling with that today? It's very different.
Gotta hold yourself.
So it's very different to if you're doing a direct message on LinkedIn, for example. There are different rules depending on the purpose that you want.
This is, that AIDA thing that you talk about, isn't it? Because whatever you do, imagine someone skimming through a list. Like people are watching this video now, watching the recording of this video, for some reason have stopped and said, "Oh, I'll watch that for a bit," right? Now it's difficult to put AIDA into these kind of situations. I know that, I get that, but explain just very briefly what AIDA is, because it fits in most of those different categories, doesn't it? In most of those different
types. It fits in every single one. It's just depending on how strict you are with it. So AIDA stands for, it's a marketing tool that's been around for donkeys, but it stands for attention. So gaining the attention of somebody, which is sort of what the cosmetic aspect does do. But then there are other things.
On social media, that's split second, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
so you're
literally get a
talking,
split second.
you probably get a second, possibly two, depending on if that person recognizes your name, but it's instant almost. Then you've got interest. So somebody sort of stopped, seen the cat ears in the epic Christmas jumper, and thought, go on.
And that's between 5 and 7 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm told.
and it used to be closer to the 7, and now it's moving closer to the 5. As attention spans get shorter, you get less time, which is unfortunate, but there are things that you can do. The next letter is D for desire, where you're basically just expanding on that interest, really making somebody go, interesting. Do you know, you're sort of they're wanting to listen to you. You're building that desire, you're building that, and you normally do that by relating to them, or what is it you say, Mike? Joining a conversation they're already
joining the conversation they're having in their heads. That's what that is. So talking about things that they get and understand or are thinking about, it's relevant to them, and building that up and hinting that whatever it is that their problem is, that you've got some kind of solution really to that problem.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So when you're focusing on your desire, desire is pretty much in every single video. The last one is action. So action is wide ranging. So it could be as small as subscribe to something, or it could be as small as accept a call from me when I ring you, or it could be bigger, like click on this link and register, or click and download this. So action is you want them to do something, and it's normally a test. It's the first level test of whether they want to engage with you.
Now, AIDA is like penicillin, isn't it? You can use it everywhere. It's like it's proven it works. It's cheap. It's easy. Anyone can do it. And it works in loads of different places. So if you've heard of AIDA before, perhaps in sales pitches, or perhaps used for presentations or in reports, yes, that's the same AIDA. We're applying it here to video, and that's kind of a key thing. And it all comes back to that point that you made, wasn't it, which is purpose. Yeah.
So depending on the purpose, depends on how closely you stick to AIDA. So it's always in the process. So you'd normally always start a video with this is your problem, let me get your attention, develop your interest. Then you build the desire by sharing some information of some sort. And then your actions, sometimes there, sometimes not. But so if you were going to do a promotional video, you would stick very closely to AIDA, very, very closely to it. You would plan it out, script it almost word for word, and you would really spend a lot of time on it, versus if you were doing a value add video, which would be something like, you know, something had happened on the day and a client asked you a question, you thought, oh, the rest of my team might like that, or something occurred in your life that you want to share with everybody. That's a value add, you know, whether it's actually adding information or adding just entertainment, it doesn't really matter, but that would still involve some level of planning. So that could be just quickly bullet point out my start.
Are we on, did you say bullet point 3? Is that where we are?
This is, yes, sort of. So when you've discovered the video that you want to create, so whether it's a promo, whether it's a value add, you then need to plan it. Because even those videos that people sort of just throw up, it looks like they've thrown up, they've probably had more planning. Some people don't. I imagine Gary Vaynerchuk just does what he wants because that man's magnificent and could do whatever the heck he wants, and it's fantastic. But a lot of people will at least have had a mental plan in their brain. Do you know, they'll have a idea of the order that what they want to say. Gary V, definitely follow him if you're interested in video, but you'll have something in your mind. Whenever I get a lot of, oh, you know, but it's easy for you and Mike, you're so natural on camera. We're not. We plan.
Check out our bloopers tape on YouTube.
Yes.
If you want to see how good I am on video.
Yeah. There's a lot of swearing involved. Yeah. I'll put that link in the comments if anybody wants to see it. But essentially, the more, what is it? What's the 5 Ps, Mike? Would you like to share the 5 Ps?
Oh, I can do that. Yeah, actually, we all know those. Preparation prevents piss poor performance. Right there.
Classic. But yeah, so the more prep that you do, the better you are. Now that always involves scripting, but that doesn't necessarily mean word for word. You know, I've got to memorize 4 paragraphs and get.
In fact, it definitely means not that. For most times, I mean, I can't remember a single word, can I? So
no, we do sentences at a time with you.
We do a sentence at a time. Yeah, they're built that way. But I think you can remember. It depends what you're doing. If I'm just shooting a video to do a promo or something, then I know what I'm going to say. and I practice the beginning and I practice the end. The
Mm.
bit in the middle isn't quite so important anyway, is it really? So as long as you start and finish in strongly, then
Yeah.
it's going to work for you. So
Yeah. And it stops you doing things that a lot of people struggle with. So a lot of people will ramble. That's your problem, Mike. You tend to have so much information in your head that you want to get it all out, which is fantastic. But people can't handle that level of that volume of information, that wisdom of
all
yours,
right then.
Mike.
All
They can't
right
handle
then.
it. So the point is that you need to slightly lessen it. That's all. That's all. You need to make it more concise. Or perhaps you're very abrupt and at the end of it you think, ugh, I meant to talk about this and I've just finished a 5-minute video and it's not involved. So planning means that your video is fit for purpose, essentially.
I think the other thing with this as well, and we do this quite a bit really, is if I shoot it and I say, was that okay? You say, well, it's all right, but I think we'll do it again. So that's the thing with video, isn't it? This isn't real tape or anything. This is video. You can shoot it.
Yeah.
You can shoot it and edit it. You can shoot it and dispense with it and shoot it again. And I think if you've done your prep work, let me tell you, I shoot a lot of video. I'm nervous. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am very nervous on camera. And I'm dyslexic, so I can't remember the words to anything. Not a single song, nothing.
Not even happy
And
birthday.
yet, mainly due to Kirsty, to be fair, how she manages it. But I get to go and do the performances I do, which work really well for us. Our courses are built on them, the promos for the things that we run, and I think, speaking to somebody who is the subject as opposed to the person shooting the video, all of these three things matter to me. I trust Kirsty to get the cosmetics right. We've got a very clear idea on the purpose, and we know, because there's a set style for each purpose. It's just a different format really, and we know what that is, so that's fine. And then this thing, the preparation, the more prepared I am, the better my performance, the more confident I am, and I suppose the easier it becomes to absorb what it is that I'm saying, I guess. Understand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But also I think when you have that prep, because the filming experience is more enjoyable, for lack of a better word, it's not, a walk in the park, but it's more enjoyable, you're more likely to do it again. Whereas if you do something and spend, 20, I think the most takes we ever did with Mike is somewhere in the 30s. So for one section, we did over 30 takes to get, sort of a one paragraph bit. If that's your regular experience of video, you're never going to do it ever. It just doesn't happen.
I drank red wine, didn't I, afterwards? I think I was fine then.
That seems to be a common theme with you when it comes to video. But yeah, if you prepare, if you do a little bit of prep, then you get, it's a more pleasurable experience. Shall I put it that way? It's a more, it's an experience you're more likely to want to repeat, really.
Okay. So, sorry, you were going to say? Yeah,
no, I was just going to say sort of off something which you just said, which is I make you film things more than once. And
loads of times. That's to get the blooper tapes, though, isn't it? That's to get the blooper tapes.
That's for my own enjoyment, which is, this is fun for me. But there's a balance to that, which is I get a lot of people when I do video who aim for perfection, who see in not necessarily insecurities, but they see things they don't like about themselves. I know I do certain things that I hate. Mike, there's loads of filming where you're going, oh, I've just said that again. I hate that word. I'm not using that word again. And I hadn't even noticed it as the viewer. And in actual fact, those imperfections that you see as so horrific and so unprofessional make people more endeared to you because it's you. People buy from people and your personality comes across. Oh, Julia, she's an excellent student, I have to say. Fantastic. But yes.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for those few kind words. Appreciate that.
It's all about me.
Actually, I can put that up, actually. Carry on.
Yeah, so when you're doing this, it's something that I focus on a lot in the course, and I focus in a lot when I speak to people individually. Those little imperfections are what makes you you, and that's what people want. They want to see you in it. If you're too professional, if you're too corporate, it's not engaging, because I would have to engage in a corporate entity rather than with you. So you watch Mike and I on this, and not only do we have excellent fashion sense, as you can tell by the amazing Christmas jumpers, but we also have, I wear cat ears. Mike, mostly wears, he's got his silver fox with his silver highlights going on up there. Thank you, Peter. I think that means I won the contest this week, Mike, on the Christmas jumper front.
Okay.
Just saying. But those personality elements, those little weirdness, those little things that come across make make you know us. You know that I have excellent.
Do you think confidence has a lot to do with it as well then?
Yeah, I think it does. But I think the problem with confidence is that's why planning is helpful, because you know what you're going to say and you feel more confident with it. But a lot of confidence comes from practice. And if there's one thing that people take from this whole thing, is that you plan a video, just film it, even if you don't use it. Like, if you set yourself a task of doing a video a week between now and the end of the year, you don't have to publish them, but you just get used to talking to camera, and you get more confident on it, and it becomes less frightening. And that's sort of the main thing.
I can echo that. I used to be massively intimidated by that little round black eye thing. Don't even see it now. I don't even see it really. So you're talking to it like I'm talking to it now. It's just a thing. I'm so used to it because I've shot so many videos that it doesn't make any difference. I think that is a big thing. If there was a fourth thing, it'd be practice, wouldn't it, really? But
that's just more the tip to take away, really.
It is a tip to take away. Let me summarize up then for people, really. And then I'll tell you what, before I do the summary, let me bring this up. I've just put this in. If you'd like to know more about Kirsty's course, I know the language isn't very good there, but just drop Kirsty an email to kirsty.ames@flare.co.uk. We're not running anything well, of course, it's being run at the moment, and we've got nothing planned as yet, but we are going to be very soon.
End of Jan.
So we will, as soon as we get, if you just want to know more about it, we won't see that as being somebody, we won't see that as a commitment from you. You just want to know. And so Kirsty will just explain to you.
Or you can just connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, that would work. Okay, so let me summarize up then. So video is important. It's going to be even more important in 2021. But because there is a lot of it, you have to make your videos stand out to be watched. And they have to be constructed in a certain way. But that's not as difficult as it sounds. Number one, cosmetic. Make sure that it looks okay. That's just a checklist in simple terms. Easy. Number two is purpose. To make sure that you fully understand what you're trying to produce and who it's for and what you want to get from it. And then there's just a format that you can follow for that particular style of videos. And then thirdly, preparation. And that's probably more important. That's about a whole range of things, but the preparation should, again, horses for courses, it should match what you're trying to achieve. But predominantly what it needs to do is give you that confidence. And remember, perfection isn't perfect. You just got to get out there and do it. Is that about sum it up, do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Perfection. Don't aim for perfection. You're never going to achieve it, and it's just going to paralyze you. Yes, Nikki. Yeah. Yes.
Because sometimes I have Peter on, so
he's still at Ames.
He is. Yeah, he could be the Ames Show. Yeah. Well, I'm going to invite Melanie on then. How about that?
It's just you like the name of you. I like that idea, Nikki. I'll work on it.
Thank you for that. Let's just finish on that because you like that, don't you? Really.
I do like that. I might get that framed and put it above my bed. But yeah, I mean, video isn't scary. Especially if you learn, there's a lot of it, but on the course, I say all the time that we focus on the 20% that makes it 80% of the difference. And that's all you need to do. You just need to get in and build your confidence and feel comfortable. Really, video's fun. It's enjoyable. I enjoy it.
I think, speaking as someone who does shoot video, honestly, what she's just told you, the cat's mother, what Kirsty has just told you is absolutely bang on. So, and that would help. Okay. Let's just wrap it up now. Next week, we've got the Flare team. We're trying to persuade Melanie to come on the show as well. See how we do with that. And we're just going to be talking about us. I'm going to thank you for the year that we've had. Just recount a few things. We might have wine. I don't know. Should we have wine?
Yeah, sherry.
Let's have wine.
Sherry. We can have our homemade parsnip wine.
We'll have some drinks anyway. And we'll just shoot the breeze for 20 minutes and talk about each other. If you want to know about us, then that's a great place to do it. So we'll see you then. So thank you very much for Kirsty. Thank you for that. Thank you for being on the show, the Mike Ames Show, right there. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.